but I'm going to explain that there are people in the background and not to mind them. So if you want to make crazy noises.
Am I invisible? No, you're just video.
Check.
What the?
I am just going to record audio and video. Okay. Hello, my name is Dan Bracken, media producer at Ginghamsburg Church. I am in an office with 2 other people, so if you hear clicking from computers or strange noises like llamas in the background, it's not me. It is my lovely coworkers. Okay, so this is just a quick peek into this little video project here. This was our original footage. Looks a little bit like that. And our final product, hide that layer, looks a little bit like that. So, just not necessarily a show how, but just a quick look at each of these different layers, a little breakdown about how we went about each thing. First, this little cop car in the background, this pre-comp right here, this was just an image that we found on Google. I did a content aware scale on either side to extend the horizon to the right and to the left, and use clone stamp a little bit along the top, and that was sufficient for what I needed back over here. If I hide that, that's what was in the background. Obviously we had to key out this green, this nasty green. Wanted to get a lot of these grays a lot darker, so there were some effects that we applied to that layer first. Come up here to the effects controls. On this layer we added a key light first. I'll hide the levels and the color balance there. The key light settings, use the eyedropper tool to select an area of green on that green sheet, which actually it was kind of fun. We were going to shoot outside, but we got a lot of glare off of the windshield, the front windshield, so we pulled it into the garage in the back of one of our buildings, and our boy Greg was holding a reflector just above the roof here that was blocking any additional reflection from the inside, and so the outside was still being backlit by the sun or whatever, which gave us a pretty difficult key to work with, but it helped. We could plug in a couple lights in the garage, so we had a fill light and a key light that helped light her face a little bit, but came in here and keyed out the back window with key light 1.2. After that I added some levels. I'll expand this. I brought those blacks up a whole lot just to match some of the contrast in the background. It's dark, right? So we got to make it a little bit dark. Did that. Also brought the output white down a little bit, which made it just a little less, saturated. Those whites aren't that bright at night. And then beyond that, brought a color balance. Indoor light, which was coming from the lights in the garage, are a little bit more orangey than outdoor light. So outdoor, general blue tone. You get some blue tones from these lights here anyway. Cool. So beyond that, we wanted these lights to be animated from the cop car. So I added just a few lights down here. First I added a blue light. I'll expand this into our light options. I've got it on spot. The intensity, all this stuff in here is just alternating intensity from negative intensity all the way to 150, and then back to negative, and then that's just copy pasted this whole way. So it alternates from on off. And the color is blue to kind of draw out the blue lights that are already emitting from the image. Then I added a red light. Did the same thing with keyframing the light intensity, and then to keep some of those white lights back in there, I just put a white light on top that always stayed lit. I believe. Let's see. Yeah, there's no keyframes on the intensity. The intensity is just, I got it to a place I wanted just to keep the integrity of those white bright lights coming from the cop car. Now, in order to apply these lights to our footage, the footage has to be a 3D layer. In your material options on that layer, you need to make sure we've got accept lights, which is on. If I turn it off, you'll see just a little bit how the image changes, and then it would no longer, so those lights are flashing in the back, which is okay, but you know, in this case the lights obviously would also influence the inside of the car, so accept lights, keep that on. The lights on her face were a little bit too much for me, so I've actually got this layer on top, which I duplicated this layer and did not make it 3D. In other words, it took off the light from her face, and I created this mask. If I hit M on the keyboard, that'll bring up the mask path, which the mask path, if we scrub through here, you see the mask changes and follows her just a little bit. I put a feather on that mask, and basically what that did, it just slightly took the light off of her face. I do have an opacity on this layer, so it shines through just a bit. That would be completely without. That would be with. If I didn't have any opacity, that would look a little bit awkward. You see some color disparity just on her hand even there. So, you know, down to 55%. Just gave me the look I was going for. So, that's pretty much it. Except there's also here, you see how both that my image in the background and my foreground, my footage, I had the camera on a slider when we were shooting the footage, so we slid that forward. I needed to match the background image, whatever we put behind her car, on that same trajectory. So I did a camera movement, or just a positional change on the image. I just did a slow push. I kind of guessed on natural camera movement, but that's just a Z. You know, I brought it forward a little bit, but in my sample here, and actually I'll show you, if I just take this layer and pasted it inside this layer, this is non-pre-comped, because it is in front of, it's a 3D layer and my footage is also 3D, but because of the movement, it's in front of my my footage in Z space. Obviously it's not in front of this one because this one's not a 3D layer, but it's only slightly opaque. It was on top of my footage, so simple fix, I just pre-comped it, which have the layer selected, go to layer, pre-compose, leave all attributes or move all attributes. I moved all the attributes into the new composition so I could keep it 3D in the inside of the comp, and that forced it behind because now it's just simple layering. This is on top of that, and that's why that's in the background. So basically that's what I did there. So there you go. Voila. That from that. And I gotta admit, I was a little bit nervous that this would look good or be usable at all, because it looks pretty gross. But I'm satisfied with that. Maybe not perfect, but good enough. This has been Dan Bracken from Ginghamsburg Church. Have a good day.